So we're going to look at some of the fundamental aspects of the yoga practice, starting with the breath. So breathing is really important in yoga, and there's so much to think about. So it can be for the beginning part of your practice that you just focus on breathing in and out through the nose. Use the breath as a barometer for your practice. So if you find yourself in shapes where you're not able to breathe fully, if it's a twist or a forward fold or anything where you feel like you lose that connection to the breath, know that it's okay to modify that until your breath can become nice and fluid and long again. Once that starts to become familiar, then you can start working on Ujjayi breath. So this is in and out again through the nose, but you have a little constriction through the back of the throat so that you're creating a kind of rasping oceanic sound. So as you inhale, breathing in through the nose, as you exhale, this time just go out through the mouth. And imagine you've got a mirror or a window in front of you, something that you're trying to fog up with your breath. Again, inhale through the nose. Exhale out through the mouth. Okay, nice. So now this time we're going to do the same thing, but as you exhale through the mouth, keeping it closed. So inhale through the nose. Exhale through the nose. And you'll start to hear that little sound. So again, inhale. Exhale. So this is the Ujjayi quality to the breath that you want to keep throughout the practice. If it starts to become lost, then that's okay. Just know that that's quite common. You can keep coming back to it. Second thing that we're going to look at is bandhas. So these are locks or valves that help to guide the energy through the body into certain places. So ordinarily they're moving the energy up. So the two that we're going to look at today are Mula Bandha and Uddiyana Bandha. So Mula Bandha is your pelvic floor muscles, and this is the muscles that you would engage if you are having a wee and you're trying to stop yourself. So you're going to lift up through the pelvic floor. The next one, Uddiyana Bandha, is lower abdominal muscles, so below the belly button. And here again, you want to think of lifting the belly up and in, not just kind of clenching. So it's not trying to show your six-pack off on the beach, you're lifting up. So you're trying to combine the breath with these two lifts of the bandhas so that you're always keeping this part of the body nice and active, and this will help to guide that Ujjayi breath into the chest and rib cage, and you'll feel a nice lateral expansion of the ribs with every inhale. With every exhale, this is when you can reconnect to the bandhas, because as you breathe out, this is when you can really start to focus on drawing in and up through the lower parts of the body. From here, we're going to look at child's pose. So this is one of the poses that you can come into at any point in your practice when you feel like you need to have a rest. So you're starting on your mat, and there are a few variations of this. So classic child's pose, you're sitting back on your heels, your knees are together. If you want to take the knees wider, this is fine. This will stretch more through the inner thighs. So you want to make sure that wherever you are in your child's pose, you feel comfortable. Initially, the arms reach out in front of you. From here, press into the floor and notice how you can really draw the shoulders down away from the ears of this action. And then as you exhale, keeping Mula Uddiyana Bandha active, belly in and up, just soften the forehead towards the ground and breathe. So this is an active child's pose. My elbows are not on the floor. I'm pressing into the hand. I can feel the shoulders drawing back away from the ears, and I'm breathing here. If you want to come into a more restorative version of your child's pose, then you can reach the arms down by your sides. And this really allows the upper part of the arm. You can see my shoulders have really softened towards the ground. So the upper part of the arm is nice and soft. Breathing here. And in a forward bend like child's pose, it can be really difficult to connect to Mula Uddiyana Bandha. So remembering to really use that exhale to do so. From here, as you inhale, reach the arms forwards out in front of you. Come up onto your hands and knees, and we'll move into a downward facing dog. So making sure that your hands are directly underneath your shoulders. From here, tuck your toes under, and as you exhale, suck in your belly, Mula Uddiyana, lift up and back, lifting your hips towards the ceiling and press back into downward facing dog. Making sure in your downward dog that the fingers are spread wide and the weight isn't moving to the outer part of the hand, so always thinking of pressing through the base of your thumb and index finger. The shoulders draw down away from the ears, and the rib cage isn't flaring down towards the floor, you're drawing it in and up. The heels will extend towards the ground, breathing here. So it doesn't matter whether they touch or not, just thinking of lengthening them down so that you get that nice stretch through the back of the calf into the Achilles tendon. Take a few breaths here, coming back to that Ujjayi sound, inhaling, exhaling, that little rasping sound to the back of the throat. And now take a little bend into your knees, look towards the hands and start to tiptoe the feet gently behind them. So you'll come to stand at the front edge of your mat. As you exhale, hold onto your elbows and just let the weight of the head draw you into a forward bend. In any forward bend, if you need to have a bend in the knees, this is absolutely fine. Just breathing into whatever feels good for your body. Again, thinking of drawing the belly in and up. Change the cross of your elbows here so you've got the opposite arm on top, and then maybe let the head roll from side to side, releasing any tension in the neck, keeping the belly drawn in and up. Come back to stillness here. As you exhale, just let the hands come back down towards the ground. Take a soft bend into your knees, and keeping the arms and the head heavy, as you inhale, start to roll yourself up to stand. So Mula Uddiyana, drawing in and up, stacking the vertebrae one on top of the other, and then eventually letting the head lift up. Breathing here. As you inhale, reach the arms up overhead. And now interlace the first 3 fingers. Extend your index finger up towards the ceiling and cross the thumbs. Reaching the arms back behind the line of your ears. Now squeeze your bum so you send the hips forwards and just rock the shoulders from side to side. So breathing into the front of the body and seeing if you can keep Mula Uddiyana active, and see if you can keep that Ujjayi breath. If you've gone too far in the back bend and you're not able to breathe, then come back up out of it. Come back to stillness here. As you inhale, lift up tall. Now taking a side bend. So send the hips out towards the left. As you exhale, bring the hands over to your right. Really pressing through the outer edge of that left foot. Breathing into the side of your waist. Inhale, come back up to center. And then as you exhale, send the hips the opposite way as you reach over to the left. Again, here thinking of really pressing down through that outer right foot. Noticing if you've gone too far, if you've lost that connection to your breath. Inhale to come back to center. And then exhale, bring the hands down through your center line. Coming into tree pose. So coming into tree pose, Vrikshasana. So this is a balancing pose. You're going to transfer the weight over onto your left leg. As you do this, try not to let the hip collapse down. So you want to really lift up out of the glutes, squeezing the tailbone under. Now you're going to bring the right foot towards this leg, so it can either go towards the lower part of the leg with the toes on the floor. This will provide the most stability. It can go towards the calf, or you can lift it up and press it against the inner thigh, making sure that you don't press it against the knee joint. So from here, you can see what my knee is doing. It's slightly forwards because I'm not activating through this foot yet. If I press the heel and the inner thigh together, this starts to activate the muscles of the glutes, so the knee externally rotates a little bit further. From here, bring the palms together at the heart center and think of having the elbows lifted so it's not here. The elbows are in line with the wrists, and this helps to broaden across the chest and the collarbones. If this is enough, then you can stay here. If you want to go further, then you could try reaching the arms up overhead. So here, making sure you connect to the breath, making sure Mula Uddiyana are really strong and active. Keeping the shoulders down, even though you're reaching the fingers up. Keep breathing here. Let's take one more breath. Good, exhaling, bring the hands back down through the center line, and then releasing the foot. Take it to hip width, and then change sides. So transfer the weight over onto the opposite leg and lift up out of the pelvis. Bring the foot to the same position you did on the first side. So remember, you can have the toes on the floor, you can have the foot against the calf, or you can have it against the inner thigh. Squeeze the heel against the inner thigh so you really bring everything through the midline. Use Mula Uddiyana to get really strong and lifted through the belly. Palms come together at the heart center. Make sure that you're looking at eye level. So it's really common in balancing poses for people to look at the floor. This will start to concave and round your chest. It makes it harder to balance. So keep lifted up. Breathe. If you did so on the first side, see what happens if you lift the arms up overhead and you're not hunching the shoulders. So keep the shoulder blades drawing down. Keep that connection with the belly. One more breath. Inhale here. Keep that Ujjayi quality. As you exhale, lower the hands through your midline. And then step that foot down by your side. Come back into Samastiti. All right, so coming back down to the floor now. As you inhale, reach your arms up towards the sky. Exhale, take them all the way to the floor. Remember, you can bend the knees if you need to. From here, inhale, step yourself back into that downward facing dog shape, pressing the hips up and back. Draw the rib cage in. Look towards your hands. Now bring the knees to the floor in front of you. Cross the ankles. And then just sit back behind your heels, extending the legs out. So from here, coming into forward fold, Paschimottanasana, you're going to reach forwards and hook the first 2 fingers around the big toes, keeping the backs of the wrists facing outwards. Don't worry if you can't catch your toes. You can bend the knees as much as you need to get that contact with the feet. Just make sure that you keep the knees together, and eventually over time you can straighten the legs out. Take another inhale here. Pull on the toes, lengthen your spine so you can see my shoulders draw down away from my ears. And as you exhale, draw up Mula Uddiyana. Bring your chin towards your chest, engaging Jalandhara Bandha, your throat lock. And let the elbows go wide as you lengthen yourself forwards. So the more you can get the elbows to move out, the more space you'll create in the upper arm. Try to avoid pulling on the toes and hunching the shoulders up towards you. So always thinking of that quality of breath and how much space you can create. Keep breathing here. And again, noticing that forward fold will really challenge that ability to use the bandhas. So keep breathing in. Use that exhale to reconnect to Mula Uddiyana. Taking one more long deep breath. Inhale. Exhale, draw your belly in. Inhale, pull on the toes, lengthen your spine, lift the chest. And then as you exhale, release. Bring the hands down by your sides. So moving into Janu Shirshasana A. Bring the sole of the right foot against the left inner thigh. So this is the same position you had in that tree pose, the standing sequence. Keeping the foot of the left leg active so the toes are facing out towards the ceiling. The hands come to the floor, either side of this leg. Press into the floor as you inhale, lengthen your spine. And then exhale, Mula Uddiyana, drawing in and up. And think of rotating the rib cage towards this leg. Start to come forward. So options for the hands, they can stay on the floor. They can hold onto this foot. Eventually you will flex the left hand around the sole of the right foot, holding onto the opposite wrist. And again, as you did in the first forward fold, let the elbows go wide so you can lengthen yourself forwards. Breathing into the back of the body. So thinking of that nice deep Ujjayi breath, inhaling and then exhaling. 2 more times. Inhale, breathing into the shape. Exhale, reconnect with Mula Uddiyana. 1 more. Inhale. And then exhale. Keep the arms wherever they are as you inhale, lengthen your spine. Then exhale, release. Walk the hands back in towards your body as you lift the spine up, and then change sides. Extend the right leg out in front of you. Bring the sole of the left foot against that thigh. Really strong through the right foot so that you activate the whole of the back of the leg. Take the fingers to the floor, either side of the right leg. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, keep the chin to your chest. Scoop the belly in as you come forwards. Take whatever hand variation you did on the first side. If this side feels tighter, then you don't have to go so far. As you exhale, let the elbows go wide, chin towards the chest as you lower yourself down into your Janu Shirshasana A on the left side. Thinking of the elbows pressing out towards the side. Thinking of the belly drawing in and up. Keep breathing here. Again, we'll take 2 more breaths. Inhaling into the back of the body. Exhaling, draw the belly in. Inhaling again, shoulders away from the ears. Exhaling. On your next inhale, keep the arms where they are. Lengthen your spine. Then exhale, release. Walk the fingers back in towards you as you lift yourself up. Extend both legs out in front of you. And now take them to the edges of your mat. And roll yourself down onto your back for your relaxation, your Shavasana. If you want to take the hands down, you can. You can bend the knees, whatever feels comfortable, to lie all the way onto the floor. With your palms, turn them up. So if you have the hands down, you'll notice this activates the muscles of the upper arm. So having that rotation really starts to lengthen and soften through the upper arm. Same with the legs. If they're too close together, you'll really squeeze through the quads and through the glutes. So make sure that you get comfortable. So ideally spending at least 5 minutes here in your Shavasana. Take a deep breath in. And now as you exhale, release that Ujjayi quality to your breath. So now you let the breath become super quiet, calm, steady. Scanning your body from the crown of the head to the tips of your toes. Just noticing how you're feeling. As you breathe here, see if you can keep your awareness on the breath. So if the mind becomes distracted and thoughts come in, keep going back to the breath. Stay here in your Shavasana for as long as you like. When you're ready to start coming out of it, you start to wiggle the fingers and the toes. So you're making little gentle movements. Let the head roll from side to side so you can release any tension in the neck. Reaching the arms overhead, take a big full body stretch. Draw the knees in towards your chest. Wrap the arms over your shins as you give yourself a hug. And then rolling over onto one side. Take a couple of breaths here, using the pillow, your bottom arm as a pillow. And keeping the eyes closed as you inhale, press yourself back up to a comfortable seated position. Bring your hands to the heart center. And then when you're ready, opening up the eyes. So I hope you've enjoyed those few tips, and it's something you can keep referring back to. So there's really never a point in your yoga practice where it's not useful to go back over the basics, because there's so much stuff that we forget, and it's always good to constantly review. So enjoy your practice. Namaste.